West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Welcome to another edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel, St. Patrick Hewitt. And as the thumbnail suggests, this particular episode is looking at head coach Daren Sammy. Now, the joke is, before I start and before I kick off with this particular episode, I said on a live show recently, or was it on the, I think it might have been the live call-in show, and then I said it on the, or during the Bangladesh West Indies watch along for the first T20 international, that I said that West Indies fans remind me of current Manchester United fans, and they remind me of Arsenal fans during the height of AFTV in the Wenger era, Arsene Wenger era. Now you have to be of a certain age to know what I'm talking about, but to understand that reference. But certainly, if you're a football fan, you understand the reference vis-a-vis Ruben Amorim and Manchester United. Daren Sammy is a divisive figure, not he in and of himself. Like, he's not going out there looking to be a divisive figure, but vis-a-vis how the West Indian fan base, West Indian cricket media, anybody who inhales anything to do with West Indies cricket, they are totally incapable of just seeing things for what they are. Either, seemingly, based on how people assess Daren Sammy, either you're all in or you're all out. And even if you're just in the middle, people will accuse you of being either all in or all out. Let me just set the disclaimer now at the start of this particular episode. I don't business. I'm not here in this episode to defend Daren Sammy. I'm not here in this episode to criticize Daren Sammy. I'm just here to present some information and allow you lot in the comments below to decide what you want to do with that particular information. Here's what I'll say first. Sorry, and I didn't even finish my Manchester United point. The reason why I made that reference to Manchester United is because the West Indian fan base is emotional. Every time West Indies lose a match, the reaction is an emotional reaction. Every defeat is treated as if it's the worst thing that's ever happened in the world. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some defeats that West Indies have had in the last 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 years, which are wholly embarrassing. 3 straight off the top of the dome. The 90-run defeat to Nepal was embarrassing, right? Even with it being a West Indies B/C team, it was still embarrassing because we got taken there, right? That's embarrassing. The 27 all out to Australia was embarrassing because it was nearly a record, right? The super over defeat after Netherlands chased 374 was embarrassing. You can go all the way back to England in 2000 when West Indies got bowled down for 51. That was embarrassing. West Indies have a history in the 21st century of dropping mad. In the T20 World Cup 2022, England bowled us out for 55. Embarrassing. Some of these things are nothing to do with Daren Sammy. The point I'm making here is that we have a history in the 21st century of just serving up embarrassments. Yeah. But some of these embarrassments that have happened under Daren Sammy, I think, have just been taken way out of proportion in terms of, to the point where sometimes I listen to some people's stuff and I read some of the articles that people write in Caribbean media, and I'm like, are you just doing this for rage bait, clickbait and engagement? Or do you genuinely believe the things that you're saying? Do you genuinely believe the things that you're writing down? As ever, I always say that I believe there's nuance in all of this. Nuance doesn't mean you have to agree with me. I'm just saying I always believe that there's some nuance in all of this. Is Daren Sammy above criticism? No. Is everything all his fault? No. Like, there's nuance in all of this. Let me read something out to you. This is since the year 2000. Let's see who's the first to get it. Roger Harper, Gus Logie, Bennett King, David Moore, John Dyson, David Williams, Otis Gibson, Phil Simmons, Stuart Law, Nick Pothas, Richard Pybus, Floyd Reefer, Phil Simmons, Andre Coley, Daren Sammy. Those are all the coaches that have coached West Indies since the year 2000. if you are a proper West Indian connoisseur, I picked the year 2000 because even if you think the decline properly starts before that, which you could argue it does from like 1998 onwards, I picked the year 2000 because it represents the 21st century, right? In the 21st century, vis-a-vis West Indies cricket, we have been on a downward slide. We're on a snake in snakes and ladders, right? Like the decline in West Indies cricket has been a gradual, some might even say quick decline from the year 2000 to where we presently stand in 2025. We have had in that time, how many coaches did I read out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This Daren Sammy is the 15th coach since the year 2000 to try and arrest the decline in West Indies standard, in West Indies performances. None of those coaches have been successful. People often try to look at Richard Pybus and go, "Oh, we won a series versus England under Richard Pybus. Ergo, we were successful." Okay, we won a World Cup under Otis Gibson in 2012. We won a World Cup under Phil Simmons in 2016. There have been fleeting moments of success. Under Phil Simmons in 2022, we beat England as well in a series, because people love to go back to the Richard Pybus thing and go, that was the Holy Land under Richard Pybus. Like, things that we acclaim Richard Pybus for, Phil Simmons did that as well. We beat England in a series under Phil Simmons. Does that mean that was the Holy Land? There have been very brief moments of success under that assortment of 15 coaches. But the one thing that connects all of those coaches together is a gradual decline in West Indian standards. You can try and wrap it up in whatever word salad you want. You can try whatever evidence that you want. The reoccurring common denominator for all of those coaches is a decline in standards. By now, if you follow the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, you'll know that I've long said there is no silver bullet. There is nothing that can fix West Indies cricket just like that. There's no coach out there that can fix West Indies cricket. We've had overseas coaches. We've had West Indian local coaches. We've had all format coaches. We've had split role coaches. Nothing has worked. And the reason why nothing has worked in this slow decline in the 21st century is because surely we all acknowledge the following. We don't have the money. Ergo, we don't have the resources to compete at the top level. Standards on the field have massively declined. We have no batter in the region that is able to average over 30 in Test cricket, bar Craig Brathwaite. If that is not the clearest sign of declining standards in West Indies cricket, I don't know what to tell you. I just wrote an article today, which should be dropping maybe later tonight, maybe the next few hours, where I spoke about Brendan Nash. We dropped Brendan Nash from the West Indies Test side in 2011 when he was averaging 34, right? He played 3 Test matches in 2011, only averaged 9, 6 innings, got dropped. In the 3 preceding years before that, he was averaging over 37, right? We dropped him in 2011 because we said averaging 34 ain't good enough. We can't find anyone in the Caribbean that's even able to average over 28. Remove Craig Brathwaite from the equation, we can't even find anyone to average over 28 in Test cricket. Standards have declined dramatically in the last 25 years. We don't have enough data analysts in the region. Forget Avinash, who works obviously with the men's senior team. I'm talking about across the territory, from Trinidad to Barbados to Jamaica to Windwards to Leewards to Ghana. We don't have enough, some say any, trained data analysts. So how can the cricket go forward? We have subpar coaching in the region. Across the entire region, we got subpar coaching from grassroots schools all the way up to the territorial level. We don't have enough elite coaches, or no, forget elite. We don't have enough good coaches in the region. The pitches are horrible in the region and not conducive to good cricket. Leadership is horrible in the region, from territorial level, some might say all the way through, but leadership is horrible. our fan base is completely out of touch with the realities of where West Indies cricket is at. When you put all of those things together, so let's just repeat them again, what I said: lack of infrastructure, well, basically lack of money to fix a decline in infrastructure that isn't fit for purpose, right? Declining standards on the field, lack of robust data analysis or analysts in general, subpar coaching, poor pitches, poor leadership, out of touch fan base. Put all of that together in a melting pot. And what is any coach in the world supposed to do? For the best part of the last 25 years, for the best part of those 25 years, West Indies have been ranked 7th and 8th, some say 9th in the world. We aren't, that's us. That's it. Even if you appointed whoever you believe to be the best coach in world cricket right now, even if you appointed that person, what are you truly expecting beyond marginal gains? And marginal gains to me means we might be 7th consistently instead of 8th. But expecting West Indies to be challenging on all three fronts is an absolute, that's a pipe dream. I'd even argue to expect West Indies to challenge on one front is a pipe dream. Now, are there some own goals in there? Yes, of course. Are there things that you can look at Daren Sammy and his backroom staff and say, well, boy, you could think about doing this or you could think about doing that? Yes, I think there's validity in that. But are the West Indies fortunes going to be fixed by just shouting into a camera, Daren Sammy needs to go now? Or writing an article saying Daren Sammy needs to go now? Go for who? Go for what? That doesn't mean he can't hold corn, but go for who? Go for what? We've tried everything else already. Some people are saying you've got to get rid of Floyd Reefer. I'm not. Again, I've got no horse in that race. If people think that's the answer, people think that's the answer. I'm not going to fight that down. I'm not going to fight down anyone's suggestion about that because people say something's got to change. Do you know what would be a more reasonable change? And what I think what Kishore and Miles might have to answer at one of their next press conferences, I think this is a reasonable question to ask. 2 years ago, a review was done in West Indies cricket where I think it was by, I can't remember if it was the sub-cricket committee. I can't remember what the committee was called, but a review was done in West Indies cricket about, this was in 2023. It was just after, yeah, it was around Phil's time. So it might even been 2022. I think it was after we got knocked out of the 2022 T20 World Cup, right? And a review was done where they looked at the kind of modern landscape of international cricket, and they fed back to the kind of head honchos of Cricket West Indies, and they said that it doesn't work anymore to have a full format coach, an all format coach. At the time, Phil was an all format coach. He was our test coach, in which he was doing a good job, but he was also our white ball coach, in which we were horrid, right? And they fed back and said, it's just not feasible within the current climate to have an all format coach. There's not enough time for an all format coach to debrief from series. There's not enough downtime for them to be able to even, I guess, decompress from a series for themselves, never mind the players. The calendar is getting increasingly cluttered. As soon as you finish one format in one series, you have to fly to a next place to do a next format in another series. So how can you go forward in the cricket? And the decision after that was that Daren Sammy would become the white ball coach, if people remember. So Sammy became the white ball coach. And then when Phil stood down in, was it 2023? Can't remember. No, in fact, no, I'll tell a lie. When they split the roles, I think Andre Coley initially took the white ball team on, like, he took him. No, how did it go again? I'm trying to remember how it went. Did Coley take over after Phil initially, and then Sammy took? I can't remember. I can't actually remember. I think Sammy might have taken the ODI team initially, and then Sammy took the T20 side. Coley then took the test side, having had a bit of an interim period of time with the T20 side, or something to that, something in that regard, basically, is what went down. But the point is, they split the roles, And it was an acknowledgement that we can't just have one guy for all the formats because it doesn't work anymore. When Cricket West Indies then announced, after Andre Kohli's contract ended after the Pakistan series at the start of this year, and West Indies Cricket West Indies announced that Sammy's now the all-format coach, I believe there is a legitimate question to ask of Miles and of Kishore to say, yeah, but why did you go back to something that 2 years earlier had been acknowledged doesn't work? I think that's a legitimate question. And to me, that's nothing specific to Daren Sammy. I'd be asking that exact same question, whoever was in that role. Why go back to something that we had acknowledged under Phil? This doesn't work. It doesn't work to have a one format guy. I know England do it, but the whole point of a sub-cricket committee or whichever committee it was that carried out the research, what was the point in them carrying out that research and feeding back and it getting ratified that, yeah, we better split the roles to then go back to one role? Was it because it was cheaper to just make Sammy the head coach of all of them? Was it because Andre Kohli wasn't sexy enough to be the test head coach while Sammy was the white ball coach? I don't know. But those questions I've just asked on this episode are that to me is the legitimate questions that people should be asking. I ain't got time for the Sammy's got to go now and Floyd Reefer should no longer be batting coach. Some of them, and that might be valid, but that's not really where my focus is. My focus is on answering the deeper questions behind it. But even in that, in and of itself, let's look at Sammy's record. Like I said, I think I said it on the watch along for the first T20 and the live call-in show on Sunday. Sammy's record at current stands as follows. He's been head coach for 5 test matches. He's lost all of them. 3 to Australia, 2 to India. Again, I'm not here to say Sammy out. I'm just here to pose the questions. Do you think that you should say Sammy out because he's lost 5 test matches to a combination of Australia and India? Are you telling me, just answer the questions for me. It's not about what I think here. Are you telling me that you expected him to beat Australia and beat India? Is that what you're telling me? Is that where we're at? This goes back to my earlier point. The West Indies fan base is out of touch. So if you're sitting there and you're like, because Daren Sammy lost 3 test matches to Australia and 2 test matches to India, he's got to go now, then I think I question how stable you are or how rooted you are in logic when it comes to West Indies cricket. But we move. Like if that's you, that's you in it. You do you. ODIs wise, Sammy's record, I've said it before, we've won 4 out of our last 5 series at home in ODI cricket. We are still pretty terrible away from home. Is that enough for you to say that Daren Sammy should go now? Again, I'm not here to say that he should or he shouldn't. I just want to know, do you think that record means he should go now? Are you saying that there is a coach in world cricket that could suddenly make us play well in foreign conditions or outside of the Caribbean, much less win games in the Caribbean, which it seems that some people are taking for granted? And then lastly, in T20 cricket, we have won 6 out of our last completed 26 T20 internationals. Obviously, we just beat Bangladesh away in the first one of the series. 6 out of 26 is dreadful. Okay. And I'm accepting that. Should Sammy go because we've only won 6 out of our last completed 26 T20 internationals? Yes or no? But before you answer that, he was the head coach for our last World Cup. And in that World Cup, we got to the Super 8s. The 2 preceding World Cups, 2022 and 2021, we didn't get to the Super 8s. So where are you on that line of Sammy in, Sammy out? Is it you look at the 6 out of 26 and go, you need to go, you're useless? Or do you look at the 6 out of 26, but then look at the World Cup and go, well, to be fair, the World Cup performance was better than what we've done in the previous 2 World Cups since we won the T20 World Cup. So fair. Now let's see what you do in 2026. Like I say, I'm not here to defend Daren Sammy. I'm just intrigued to know from what angle people are coming from. I can't speak to his impact on players or what's going on in the dressing room because I'm not there. That would just be like That would be drunk social media speculation. I'm not in the dressing room. I don't know what's going on in the dressing room. Remember what I said at the top of the show? West Indies fans are like Manchester United fans. 3-4 weeks ago, 2 months ago, you had a bag of terminally online Manchester United fans saying Ruben Amorim has lost the Manchester United dressing room. He's got to be sacked. He's got to go now. On the 28th of October 2025, Manchester United are 5th in the Premier League. So should he go then? Do you see what I mean? Like, we got to be careful that we don't become victims to emotions. And that doesn't mean somebody shouldn't go. But we got to be careful and be able to step back and say to ourselves, am I saying this? Am I writing this out of emotion? Or am I saying and writing this out of clear facts? Am I looking at this in the cold light of day with a bit of nuance and looking at the pros and cons of everything involved in the maelstrom and context that is West Indies cricket? Or am I just diving headfirst in with emotion and just shouting at the top of my lungs, whether on social media or on YouTube, if that one is social media, or on a piece of paper? Like I say, we can say Sammy out, you know. We can say Sammy out. But let me answer. Actually, let me give you my final. Before I wrap up this episode, let me give you my final answer. The first time you will ever hear me publicly come on CCP on an episode and say Daren Sammy out is if the following happens. And you can hold me to this. These are the metrics for me. These are my metrics. You don't have to have the same metrics as me. But if you're wondering why I've not said it as of yet, here's my metrics. Next year in 2026, we play Sri Lanka at home and Pakistan at home as part of the World Test Championship cycle. I never expected us to win one test against Australia, one test against New Zealand, and I never expected any wins this year in Test cricket from Australia, New Zealand, or India. So that's not my metric, because I'm realistic. I don't know about you lot watching this, but I'm realistic. I never expected any test wins in 2025. My metric was always, what do we do at home when two of the weaker test sides come to visit us in our own ends, in our own conditions? If Sri Lanka and Pakistan come to the Caribbean in 2026 and sweep us, yeah, you'll start hearing me say some stuff. That's when I'll start to actually loudly complain and say, but what on earth is going on? But not right now, not in Test cricket, certainly. So that's my metrics for tests. In terms of ODIs, the metric is simple. We have to make the World Cup. And not through World Cup qualifiers. If we end up in the World Cup qualifiers again, yeah, I'll start to question some stuff. Obviously, if we make the World Cup qualifiers and then qualify through the World Cup qualifiers, I might allow it. But I think a sign of progress for me would be us getting to the World Cup without having to go through the World Cup qualifiers. And before anyone tries to come for my neck over that, dare I remind you, 2019, we only got there because we had to go through the World Cup qualifiers. 2023, we didn't make it, and we had to go through the World Cup qualifiers. So anybody trying to say to me, Mash, how can you say that if they make it through the World Cup qualifiers, that's a positive? Look at our last two attempts to get to the World Cup. We've been struggling to get to the World Cup for a while now. This isn't anything new. So progress for me in ODIs would be us getting to the World Cup without having to go through World Cup qualifiers. That's my metric. And then lastly, T20s. We have a World Cup coming up next year in India and Sri Lanka in 2026. My metric for has Sammy done a good job is simple. Get out of the group. Whatever group we're placed in, get out of it. And that is par. I'm not a dunce. I'm not asking this team to go to the World Cup in 2026 and win it. They can't and they won't. My expectation is simple. Once we get to that World Cup, which we qualified for, because obviously we did well in our own ends last year in 2024. So my metric for 2026, which will be an away World Cup for us. Remember, in 2022 we didn't even get out of round one. We got taken there by Zimbabwe and Scotland. In 2021, we qualified automatically for the main stage and didn't beat anybody except Bangladesh. So we ain't got no pedigree in this thing. So Sammy, and my expectations for him in terms of what I will judge him by is get out of the group in the 2026 World Cup, which will be better than what we did in 2022 and which will be better than what we did in 2021. Those are my metrics. Listen, that's it from me. Get at me in the comments below. I know this is going to be an emotive one because enough of you lot who listen to Caribbean Cricket Podcasts are emotional. And that, do you know what? I will be slightly critical of some of you who watch this stuff as well. The thing that's I'm most critical of when people watch this and get in the comments is you project onto me your own thoughts. All I ever ask people to do when they listen to CCP is actually listen to the words that I'm saying. Don't listen to the words that I'm saying and then interpret what you think I'm saying. Listen to the words that I'm saying. I'll be Machel St. Patrick Q, one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. By now, you know the done know. You done know the done know, yeah? Head to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket if you want to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Any little bit helps. And then, of course, if you can't do that, but you do want to support and you don't want to use super chat, super thanks, all of those things, at least like, share, subscribe. We're on all the social media handles, approaching 15K on YouTube. We're on 21K on Twitter, 6K on Instagram, 5K on TikTok. We're everywhere. You just have to find us and click like, share, subscribe, notification bell, all of that. And before anybody says to me, Mash, why haven't you mentioned Jamaica? Listen, like everybody else, my eyes are glued to all of the harrowing videos and images being sent out of Jamaica. We just have to pray and hope that as many people as possible, life is spared, and that they don't lose their homes, and that they get out of this as best as they possibly can. I do plan to do some fundraising once it's all said and done, but I don't want to share anything yet. I want to wait for certainty that what I share and what I'm sharing is a reputable source. So do look out for that in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. But for those of you who are staunch West Indian fans and members of the Caribbean community diaspora, obviously prayers are up for everybody in Jamaica, and we hope they pull through and get through this as best as they can. I'll be Machel St. Patrick Q, one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you as ever for listening, and I'll see you all very, very soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.